I want to sort of turn it over to you in terms of talking, state of ICS, state of the industry. Can you tell me some of the industrial control attacks or emergencies that you've seen arise in the aftermath of some of the big name news story examples that we saw over the past couple of years? Has apart from your own consulting business, has the greater scrutiny on ICS systems over the past few years either seen cyber attackers changing or refining their tactics, or maybe hopefully more new cyber professionals entering the field hoping to make a difference?
A little bit of all of that. First of all, let's start with what's going on in the ICS and incident response space. Excuse me. So I divide the casework that we get into three general categories. The first one is commodity. So ransomware still impacts industrial networks. It doesn't impact the low-level PLCs, RTUs, the low-level devices. But what it does is it screws up the Windows computers. And Windows computers have a big presence because of IT, OT, convergence of those technologies. Yeah. There's a lot of Windows computers, especially legacy Windows computers in industrial environments, and they're not controlling the process, but they're doing important stuff like showing the displays that the operators use to see what's going on. So getting those ransomed can cause situations where they have to shut down operations because they can't see or control what's happening in the process. Even though things are still running safely for now, they can't tell. So there's a safety concern. So it's very disruptive. And it's, that can still cause loss of production. And sometimes if you have to rapidly shut down a process, that can have other physical impacts on restarting it later. So there's that certainly. So commodity malware, both deployed by worms and deployed by human adversaries just trying to make money, definitely still a big thing. They are definitely targeting industrial networks more, industrial operators more, because they know that people have to have those things. So just like they're targeting hospitals more.
Yeah, there's no bluffing. Yeah, you can't.
There's possibly, and there's everybody's numbers debate. And I have a big problem with people throwing out figures about the number of attacks happening in the world each year, because nobody has a full picture. There's a lot of stuff that never gets caught. There's a lot of stuff that only one cybersecurity company sees, and then another one sees some other stuff. But in general, it seems to be that there's less ransomware attacks slightly. The trend line is going down overall. But what I'm seeing is more precision towards targeting things that'll actually pay out. So they have to get smarter too. They're in there to make money as well and be efficient at it. So that's one category. And the second category is insiders, both unintentional and intentional insiders in these industrial facilities. And that includes, so intentional ones are, nobody knows how to wreck an industrial process. Breaking something in a specific way, setting something on fire in an industrial process is hard. There's lots of safety controls in place to prevent that. But nobody knows how to break things better than the people who actually work on those systems. So somebody gets laid off, they don't get a raise, something else is going on, and they decide to cause some damage. They can certainly do that. That's certainly a possible thing that somebody can do. And we do see it. We've had cases where we've had to have the police escort us into a site because people were going to get violent over, who did it, who did what, who to blame. Wow. So there's those, but there's also unintentional insiders. And we do cybersecurity for remote mines in the Arctic Circle and oil platforms. And people sometimes want to watch a movie or something in the middle of the night on their shift, or, show somebody their photos, and they plug something in, or they bridge a system, or they put in a wireless access point they shouldn't, or they really want to access something from home. We have to go without having to go in, and they expose RDP to the internet, and it gets scanned. It's on Shodan. That happens all the time too. And they aren't meaning to do harm. They're just trying to live their lives, but they're breaking policy potentially. But in the end, it causes an incident, and we have to deal with that. Or a potential incident at least, and we have to investigate it. And then the third category of cases we do are the more state-style adversaries who are doing much more nefarious things. Some of them are getting caught because somebody's looking. A lot of them aren't getting caught. A lot more aren't getting reported because nobody wants to admit it. And most of that is stuff that doesn't make the news because it's pre-staging for the future. Reconnaissance, foothold building, establishing footholds in systems, stealing documentation, screenshots of HMI displays, so that they can potentially launch an attack much easier in the future if there's a geopolitical reason to do that. So there's that going on as well. There's an undercurrent of that, and that's much more challenging because unlike ransomware that's very visible, it's not something that gets dollars and cents for a security program. It doesn't make the New York Times usually. That's stuff that we don't know the full scale of what's happening because there's underfunded municipalities that have zero monitoring that are being used as test beds. Mm-hmm. We've been trying to do free monitoring for municipalities to try to get, first of all, to get them more secure, but second of all, to get eyes out there and understand what those adversaries are doing on a broader scale, because they are absolutely pre-positioning to do tactical, strategic things if they have a cause to in the future. Of course they are. Everybody with that capability in the world is trying to build those capabilities in potential adversaries. So there's that. And so those are kind of the categories of incidents that we're responding to right now.
Have you seen Work Bites, the new security awareness training series from Infosec? Our team produced this series with 3 E's in mind, making security awareness training entertaining, engaging, and educational. Just go to infosecinstitute.com/free to learn more about this hilarious office comedy. And hey, let us know what you think about it.